What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this video. Here with Manny Eckert from Seattle Sockeye. We're in the off season now, and I know a big question for people is what should a week of workouts look like? We're working through Manny's off season schedule now. What you can see on screen is over here on the left is a big list of things that Manny wants to get done in the off season. We're going to talk about how you can structure it and schedule it throughout your week to make sure that it's most optimal for recovery, but also for performance as well. So things aren't stacking up too much to make you way too tired, but you can still perform well, make gains, and all that stuff. So, Manny, I guess let's hop right into it. Is there one that you want to start off with?
Sure. I mean, lifting and running are definitely like the top two things, I think. Track workout or extra, like last year, you had me sprinting 3 times a week, and I'd be super down to do that again before my lifts. So, yeah, but the track workout is the only one that is like inflexible. So, might as well just put that on Saturdays.
You don't have to go into super detail, but I guess for the viewers, what goes into this?
Yeah, so for the track workouts, we are going to do, it's going to be fairly low volume. I think we're just going to do a warm up and then do some plyos, um, and then a few fairly short sprints, probably like 340s or something. That is generally what we did during the season.
Like sevens and mini, I assume are also pretty not flexible with the days.
Yes, 7v7 is going to be every other Sunday, and there are going to be 8 of those games. And then mini is more flexible, but I would probably, I think it makes sense for me to play mini on Sundays where I don't play 7v7. The only concern there is like, am I recovering well enough from the track workout on Saturday? I'm curious, like, how would you, like, thinking about these days as high and low? Would you call a track workout like that a high day because you are doing intense activity like sprinting, or more of a lower day because the volume is pretty low? And like, how much would playing the next day impact my recovery, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I've started to shift towards and think about is I would still call Saturday's workout a high intensity day, but I think how it then pairs well with Sunday is a little bit different. So, kind of like you said, Saturday's track workout would be high intensity, but it's still lower volume. It's a little bit faster in nature. So you can think about like a lot of things that are high intensity can either be like kind of grindy reps, think like lifting for like a ton of reps, or like lifting really, really heavy weight where you're kind of just like grinding through it. Whereas a track workout and plyos are like high intensity, but it's very like fast. So it's not going to leave you super, super sore and not do like a ton of muscle damage, but it's more like your nervous system has just got to like produce this kind of really quick fast force. So it's a different type of high intensity. So I think doing that before doing another high intensity day that's a little bit more like grindy in nature, like playing sevens or like playing mini, is fine. I think if you did like 2 days back to back where it's kind of that like grindy in nature type stuff is where you get like really tired on that second day. But at least for this, like I think going Saturday track workout would almost be like a good primer to then go into Sunday sevens or Sunday mini. I think it's good. So no other mini specifically throughout the week.
I'm not planning on it. I'm sure things will come up occasionally, but that like I might want to participate in, but I don't really have any problem saying no to those things. And also, I coach a lot on weekday evenings, so it is more difficult for me to. I'm generally just not free those days.
Let's go into what's 1v1 OD.
Yeah, I just mean like footwork drills, but not like, when you say footwork, people envision like doing different patterns with your feet, like ladders or whatever. I'm thinking more reactivity drills, like trying to mirror situations in game as closely as I can. Like last year, Stan and I did a lot of 1v1 mirroring D, where we were facing each other, and then one was on O, one was on D, and we were just running back and forth. And that was great. I think this year I'd want to progress that a bit more, and then do more like, instead of, that's basically 2-dimensional. because we're just moving vertically there, like probably add the third dimension and then add like horizontal and vertical components. And I'm hoping I can fit this in. I'm trying to be realistic for what I'm actually going to do, but I feel like twice a month is pretty realistic because this is something that I could do. I can probably recruit a couple people to do before any 7v7 game. So I think doing like 30 to 40 minutes of those before playing 7v7, I feel like that leads into 7v7 really nicely. And it's just a way to get some more. And then I get to just like go out and practice those things in game immediately. I
Yeah.
think a couple of years ago, like when I would just train like purely athleticism in the off season, I would get to the season. And then I still, even though physically I felt really good, would feel like not as impactful as I felt like I should be in a game because I wasn't practicing as much of the movement patterns
Mhm.
um, that actually happen in a game. So I want to make sure I'm staying up to date with those.
Yeah, that makes sense. So since throwing is also on the list, I assume you're gonna get to a field. Is that something that you want to do? Like throwing plus potentially maybe a lower volume of the 1v1 OD reps? Is that something you want to try to fit in?
I think throwing, I'm going to be doing a lot of throwing in mini and 7v7 already. So I don't feel like that's why it's not a super high priority for me to go out and partner throw in the off season. Maybe like one focused throwing session like every probably like 1 or 2 weeks. I could probably get those done before my high school practices just with like a sockeye teammate who lives near me.
Okay.
And by focused throwing, I just mean like probably working more on my release points and like quickness of my pivots. Um, just trying to challenge my, challenge myself more.
Yeah. So that's something that's just gonna be sprinkled in throughout the week then.
Yeah, I think so.
It's okay. Any notes on the list or clean, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I guess for cleans, like I learned to clean a few years ago. And when I've done it consistently, it is definitely strongly correlated with me feeling explosive. And it's also just kind of a fun exercise. And it is kind of nice. Like when we do the sockeye combat, I'm going to measure my like 40 or whatever other distances I should do. And it would be kind of fun to have something like that in the weight room too, where I see what my max is right now, which is about like 145 or 150 probably. And then compare that to later in the off season. I don't need to center my whole training around cleaning, but it is a fun thing that I would like to do regularly this off season if you think it fits into ultimate lifting program well.
Definitely. I think it's something we could definitely do probably at least twice a week.
That's
I
great.
think we've only stuck with it once a week, but I think twice a week would be good.
Nice.
So what yeah, just to kind of get into it then. What I think would be best is we go lift here if possible. So that way we stack um like high. So low volume, high intensity. Same with the lift here, low volume, high intensity. Just stack it on this day. And then you go high volume, high intensity here. So basically high day, and then we rest on Monday.
I'm actually curious if you would say that 7v7 and mini are high intensity because a lot of the time you're just there. Okay, like when I'm playing mini, you see my heart rate stats.
Mhm.
My heart rate is like in the peak zone a majority of the time for like 70 to 90 minutes. But there's kind of like a difference between there's a big difference between like conditioning and like sprinting high intensity, right?
Mhm.
So how do you think those fit in together when you're writing a training plan? Like if you have a high intensity day, in terms of like sprinting, high intensity plyos, and then you have a high intensity day the next day in terms of conditioning. Do you think that's fine or
I think that's fine. So I think it's the progression of like what is going to leave your body the most tired and the most fatigued, right? So like you could do the low volume sprints and plyos and like it's high intensity, but you're not super sore, like just dead the next day. It's more just like I was saying earlier, your nervous system just had to be like tapped into really, really hard. So it's like if you did 1 rep of a really heavy squat, like you're not super sore from that. But your body's like kind of taxed. Whereas with mini and sevens, it's like you're not hitting the same sprint speeds or like same intensity from like an output perspective, but you're hitting like it's high intensity in that you're just doing something like you're doing something relatively intense for just a very, very long time. So like the fatigue starts to build up, the lactic acid builds up, and that's the stuff that you need to like time to be able to recover from. And so like I was saying, I think the track workout before and like the sprints and the plyos and the cleans, even on Saturday, is kind of like a nice primer. And then that allows you to then go into Sunday and do a lot more of like the volume stuff. So you can think Saturdays like high intensity, Sundays high volume. And then those pair well together to then go into Monday, or that I think is most optimal and like efficient from a weekly schedule standpoint to then knock both of those out. And then Monday you can rest. And then Tuesday we can kind of repeat a similar structure.
sounds good?
Cool. So what I would suggest from here then, and I assume Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are all fair game. Like anything kind of goes here.
Yeah. I think the routine. Okay, so I have a job that starts at 10:30 in the morning. And so it's pretty easy for me. I've been getting a pretty good groove lately where I just wake up around like 7 or 7:30 and then go do a workout in the morning. If I had like a double workout, it might be a little bit harder, but I think I can just get up a little bit earlier. Like if you wanted me to sprint before a lift, I think I could just wake up early enough and get that done in the morning.
Got it. Okay. I think that probably makes the most sense then. So let's do this. Yeah, so how I see it is Tuesday, Thursday, we make those your main lifts of the week. And that way that allows us to still alternate that structure of high, low, which I think will be good. And then allows us to, I think, push on these days a little bit more. Um, and so since Saturday is kind of like already an explosive day, and then we got the cleans being explosive as well, and that's pretty close to Thursday. I wouldn't want to do like explosive stuff on Thursday, rest Friday, and explosive stuff again. So I think Tuesday would be a good day to do your explosive stuff. Also coming off of like Monday would probably be like a full off day, if any, right? Whereas like even though Monday's a low day and you could go out and throw or whatever, like Monday's probably the day where you want to like rest. If you're going to take a full rest day throughout the week. So then coming off of that, you'll be a little bit more recovered. So I think Tuesday doing like more of an explosive day would be good. This is where you could add cleans. We'll probably do like more plyos on this day too. And then if you wanted to, you could wake up earlier and sprint. But I also think just given your schedule, like if you do the lift, let's say in the morning, and then when you go out to coach, since you're already on the field, like if you have time to sprint at any point, it's just low. Like it can be they just like 3 by 40 meters, or whatever. Uh,
I do a 40 while the kids are all getting water. Then like we drill or whatever. Kids get water again, do another 40.
it,
I've done a lot of field workouts before coaching a high school practice, but I've never fit it into during a high school practice. But that would actually work pretty well.
that's been something that I've worked with some clients on recently. Where like I've a college player who we've talked about trying to get like the mini field workout in before practice, and they can get on the field like 5 minutes before practice starts, so it's not an option. So that's what we've done is like during water breaks, they just knock out a sprint for like the first 4 drills or whatever it is. So that way they get 4 sprints in throughout practice. So yeah, I mean, you will be less tired than the player would be who's actively participating in the practice. So if it works out, yeah, I think that'd be good.
Cool.
So yeah, this is my thought process. We'll go Tuesdays lift is more of our explosive.
The only disadvantage would be that I would be sprinting later in the day, um, with doing a more tiring lift in the morning, I guess. But
I
probably
think
not a huge deal.
I think it'd be okay on this day because our Tuesday lift would be more of like our explosive stuff. So again, it's not like our grindy type workout. There might be a little bit of like lower body volume in there that might make you a little bit tired, but I don't think it's a huge deal. And then Thursday's lift would be more of like our strength stuff. So you can think like heavier lower body stuff, heavier core stuff, just the stuff that we're gonna need to really kind of move the needle. And then on these low days is where we can do a little bit more of like our core mobility rehab, injury prevention.
ISO long lunges.
Oh, God. Oh, we're going. Oh, we're gonna ISO long lunge.
I'm a little nervous for that. I really enjoyed last season where you didn't make me go for like 3 minutes.
No, I think we're gonna do it. We're just not gonna do it with weight, or we're gonna do it with weight this year. We've been doing it without weight for long periods of time, which you've proved
But
that you do.
yeah, I doing it with weight. I did. I got up to 60 pounds dumbbells in the spring, holding that for 20 seconds. It actually felt like my legs were splitting apart.
Yeah. You know, the U18 basketball team that I coached did it with 60 pounds last night too.
Well, I'm
And
struggling as a high schooler.
they also said the same thing, that their legs were actively snapping. And I was like, look at you guys, you made it.
Yeah.
What do you think of this schedule here? I guess I'll break it down real quick, real lightly, for the viewer here. So if we start on Monday, this being our full rest day, Tuesday, we're into a high intensity day. So all the white days are high intensity, all the blue days are low intensity. This way you can see we're alternating low, high, low, high, low, high. This allows us to get really good recovery. So we can go hard on these high days and we can recover well on these low days. So Monday is our full rest day. Tuesday is going to be our explosive lift with some sprints. Wednesday, we go into a low day where we can still get a little bit of like accessory work in, mobility rehab, all that stuff, but it's not going to be super intense. We can recover well. For then Thursdays, lift. Friday, same idea. It's a low day. And then the weekend, we've kind of covered pretty extensively here. But Saturday, track workout, lift, and then Sunday, we're playing. Manny, what are your thoughts?
Looks good. I feel like whenever I take a full rest day, it doesn't feel good for me psychologically. Like I get very antsy. So on Mondays, I'll probably just like go for a long walk or a bike ride or something.
Perfect. I've heard that from a lot of people too. And so I think that's a good sign that one, you're in shape. And two, you're like aware of that and still keep yourself active. I think that's also a good day to go out and do some like very stationary, low intensity partner throwing if you have the time.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys very much for watching. This has been how to structure a week of off-season training for a nationals level player. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments, but please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.